Imagine discovering that the Roman Empire hides secrets so obscure that even the greatest historians have been unable to explain them to this day. What if I told you that behind names like Nero, Cleopatra, and Romulus lie untold stories, missing legions and treasures that no one has ever found? If you have ever been frustrated with shallow explanations, felt that a piece is always missing from the puzzle of history, or simply want to understand what really happened behind the scenes of the greatest empire of antiquity, then this video is for you, because here you will uncover the 10 great secrets of Rome and dive into myths, legends, and mysteries that continue to defy logic to this day. But before we dive together into all these electrifying moments, make sure you're subscribed to our channel. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming content on ancient Rome and the astonishing civilizations of the past. Let's go! The Call of the Past. Before we embark on this grand journey, imagine walking through the ancient streets of Rome, feeling every stone beneath your feet and hearing the whispers of voices from the past. The Call of the Past represents precisely that first contact with the essence of a civilization that, although extinct, still resonates in the modern world. Its laws, constructions, customs, and all of its cultural grandeur have never ceased to influence generation after generation of thinkers. When we come across remnants of monuments or read ancient accounts, it is as if we hear a distant echo inviting us to uncover Rome's true face. And there are those who claim that this echo will not be silenced until we accept the challenge of understanding what really happened in its alleys and palaces. Speaking of the Roman Empire without feeling this call is almost impossible. As with each new fragment discovered, the thirst for knowledge only grows. For many scholars, historians, and archaeologists, this call appears by chance. A statue in a backyard, a scroll hidden in an old library, or even travel accounts that hark back to ancestral legends. Thus begins the fascination, and you in this video are also invited to answer this call, joining us as we unravel the great mysteries that shaped Rome's destiny. And what if that call leads you to a historical crossroads where one of Rome's most famous legions vanished without a trace? Get ready to discover what happened in the next session. The first clue, the ghost legend. The 9th Hispania Legion, composed of battle-hardened soldiers, has its last recorded mention in one of the remotest corners of the empire, the cold and hostile Britannia. At a certain point, the official documents simply stop mentioning it. It's as if it disintegrated into thin air, paving the way for countless theories about its whereabouts. Was it annihilated by local tribes, secretly transferred to another frontier? No one knows for sure. Scholars such as Tacitus have provided clues about intense confrontations in the region, but there is no definitive conclusion. Some believe that the legion was destroyed in battle against the Picts, a warrior people inhabiting Scotland who fiercely resisted Roman expansion. Others suggest that the legion may have been relocated during Eastern campaigns. The absence of concrete evidence leaves a trail of curiosity and frustration for lovers of military history. The mystery is so strong that it has inspired literary works, heated debates, and archaeological expeditions attempting to find coins, weaponry, or records that confirm the fate of these soldiers. Even today, the fields and hills of Scotland guard secrets that could rewrite this enigmatic chapter. But the 9th Legion is not the only mysterious figure surrounding Rome's origins. Do you want to know how the city itself was founded and whether there is any truth to the legend of a man who may have become a god? Stay with us to learn the story of Romulus. Romulus, man or god? According to tradition, Romulus was the founder of Rome in 753 BC alongside his brother Remus. They were said, according to the myth, to have been raised by a she-wolf in a narrative that blends bravery with divine intervention. However, The reality behind this legend is filled with debates. Some historians believe that Romulus was the personification of an actual tribal leader. Others argue that he is merely a symbolic figure created to lend prestige to Rome's origins. After a long reign and numerous disputes, Romulus is said to have mysteriously disappeared during a storm, being taken up to the heavens to become the god Quirinus. This divine elevation reinforces the idea that Rome, even in its earliest centuries, combined politics and religion to consolidate power. The lack of material evidence, such as a definitive tomb, only fuels the fascination and makes Romulus's disappearance one of the most iconic moments in Roman mythology. The historical truth is that this myth shaped the way Romans understood their own identity. For them, Romans of every generation took pride in saying that their city was born blessed by gods and heroes. This would explain the courage, persistence, and grandeur that Rome would achieve in the following centuries. But if you think the legend of Romulus is already astonishing, just wait until you hear the whispers that have echoed through the centuries about Nero. Did he really leave this life in the way we were told? Or was a different fate written for the most controversial emperor in history? The Voices of Nero. Nero was one of Rome's most notable and controversial emperors, known for extravagances, alleged murders, and the persecution of Christians. The official story states that he took his own life in 68 AD after being declared a public enemy by the Senate. However, rumors soon emerged that Nero had fled, living in the east and planning an unlikely return to power. Tacitus mentions that after Nero's death, at least 3 figures appeared claiming to be the emperor. These apparitions kept alive a kind of cult around the former ruler, generating turmoil and fueling conspiracy theories. Some accounts say he was seen in distant parts of the empire, playing his lyre and laughing at those who believed in his false death. Although the most accepted version is suicide, many Romans of that era still longed for the return of the emperor who, despite all the controversies, maintained fervent admirers. It was in this cauldron of uncertainties that the stories of Nero Redivivo emerged, showing how popular culture can create or nurture eternal legends. Speaking of eternal legends, we cannot ignore the Egyptian queen who enchanted Rome and its people. Are you ready to discover why Cleopatra's treasure is still synonymous with mystery? Stay with us. The Curse of Cleopatra. Cleopatra, the last queen of the Ptolemaic dynasty, not only seduced powerful leaders like Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, but also left behind a legacy of mysteries. It is said that shortly before her death in 30 BC, she hid her vast fortune so that Octavian, who would become Augustus, would not obtain it in full. Some writings from that time suggest that part of this treasure was transported to regions beyond Roman reach, perhaps to Nubia or areas south of Egypt. Even today, explorers and treasure hunters scour the desert and the ancient structures of Alexandria in search of clues to this alleged secret. Cleopatra was renowned for her political cunning and her appreciation for symbols of power, so it would not be surprising if she had planned one final act of defiance against the Roman Empire by concealing an unimaginable wealth. The curse that surrounds Cleopatra's name is often linked to reports of tragedies or misfortunes that befell those who attempted to uncover the exact location of this treasure. Whether it is mere coincidence or not, the fact remains that the legend lives on. Meanwhile, historians continue to cross-reference sources and evidence to shed light on yet another shadow of the ancient world. At this point, you must be as intrigued as we are. So hit that like button now and let us know in the comments if you believe Cleopatra's treasure really exists. That motivates us to bring more fascinating historical curiosities like these. Ready for the next phase? Because the fire that devastated Rome in 64 AD may have been just the beginning of an even greater enigma. Here comes the Night of the Great Fire. The Night of the Great Fire. In 64 AD, Rome was consumed by one of the most famous fires in history. The blaze devastated a large part of the city, destroying entire neighborhoods. Many writers of the time, such as Tacitus and Suetonius, presented conflicting versions. While some claim that Nero ordered the fire to make room for his new building projects, others believe it was an accident, or even that groups, driven by hatred of the Romans, deliberately caused the disaster. The fact is, regardless of the cause, the fire left behind a trail of destruction and enabled Nero to carry out a massive urban renewal, including the construction of the famous Domus Aurea, his luxurious palace. The tragedy also sparked a severe persecution of Christians, who were unjustly accused of starting the flames, according to sources of the time. To this day, excavations and sediment analyses in Rome attempt to decipher whether criminal action was involved or if the spread of the fire was merely a terrible accident. For some, the Night of the Fire marked the beginning of a new era of paranoia and authoritarianism. For others, it was a turning point in urban policy and the consolidation of imperial power. But Roman archaeology isn't only about flames and destruction. After all, if history has taught us anything, it is that great mysteries can be buried alongside unimaginable treasures, like in the case of the enigmatic Golden Woman. Shall we find out? The Golden Woman. In recent excavations, researchers unearthed a female skeleton adorned with gold jewelry crafted with impressive delicacy. There was no formal burial, only this body surrounded by necklaces, rings, and earrings of extreme value. The question that intrigues everyone is, who was this woman, and why was she buried in such an enigmatic manner? Some believe she was a priestess of a secret cult, one that demanded total discretion in her burial to avoid desecration. Others argue that she belonged to the high nobility, whose wealth troubled certain powerful figures to the point that she was interred far from the prying eyes of the Roman elite. Archaeologists are piecing together the fragments of this story step by step, cross-referencing data on jewelry styles and burial patterns. What is known is that the wealth of the gold found pointed to an elevated social status, yet no official record or marker identifying her tomb has been located, which only reinforces the mystery. As new theories emerge, the Golden Woman continues to be a symbol of how ancient Rome still surprises and seduces us, even after centuries. But Rome is not only about anonymous bones and lost treasures. There are documents, prophecies, and ancient books that influenced emperors' decisions and changed the course of civilization. Are you ready to unravel the mystery of the Forbidden Books? The mystery of the Forbidden Books. The Sibylline books are one of the most famous collections of prophecies in ancient Rome. They were believed to contain secrets about the future and were consulted by the Senate during times of great crisis. However, their origin and content remain shrouded in rumors and political manipulation, as many texts were destroyed or rewritten over the centuries. In 83 BC, a fire at the Temple of Jupiter is said to have consumed part of the original Sibylline books, prompting authorities to attempt to recover them from fragments scattered in other cities. The result? Several volumes of dubious authenticity, which could serve the interests of anyone wishing to influence the people or legitimize military and governmental decisions. The rarity and power of these texts transformed them into legend. Which prophecies were used to justify wars? Which were created to intimidate enemies? Such questions fuel the imagination of historians and novelists to this day, keeping alive the flame of one of Rome's greatest literary mysteries. And what if we go beyond the books and face tombs hidden by invading armies? The next enigma shifts our gaze to Alaric's crypt and Rome's lost treasure. Don't miss it! The Busento Crypt, the sack of Rome by the Visigoths, led by Alaric in 410 AD, is known as one of the most impactful events in the decline of the Roman Empire. After his sudden death, legends claim that Alaric was buried along with a gigantic treasure, supposedly including sacred artifacts brought from Jerusalem. To hide the location, the Busento River is said to have been diverted, allowing a secret tomb to be dug. Afterward, the waters were returned to their natural course. It is said that all the slaves involved in the construction were killed to keep the location a secret. Whether this is fact or fiction, there is no consensus. What is known is that even today, researchers traverse Calabria in search of traces of buried wealth. The possibility of finding unique pieces from antiquity fascinates adventurers, historians, and enthusiasts alike. Although excavations and geological studies have already been carried out, no definitive evidence of the tomb has been found. This only adds to the myth, transforming the Busento Crypt into a holy grail for those who dream of rewriting Alaric's final chapter, and as a bonus, revealing Roman treasures lost for over a millennium. Finally, we reach the last and perhaps most intriguing chapter of this journey. Who takes on the role of the guardian of all these secrets? It is time to understand how each mystery connects and why Rome's legacy seems never to die. The guardian of the secret, faced with so many unresolved stories, from the Ghost Legion to Cleopatra's fate, from Nero's flames to the Sibylline books, the idea emerges that all these fragments form a grand mosaic. Perhaps, in the shadow of history, there is a guardian of these secrets. It might be a symbol, a collection of documents, or even the scholars themselves who, over the centuries, have dedicated themselves to preserving and deciphering every clue found. It is as if Rome was never truly defeated, but rather transformed over time, leaving heirs tasked with transmitting parts of its legacy. They would be faceless guardians, united by human curiosity, ensuring that the fascination with these enigmas never fades. With each generation, archaeologists, historians, and lovers of antiquity play this role, recovering pieces of the past and inviting the public to continue the quest. Thus, the guardian of the secret is not a person, but the very passion for discovery, a feeling that spans centuries and unites all those who heed the call of the past. And you, who have accompanied us this far, also become part of this legacy, passing on the stories of Rome and nurturing this endless cycle in the search for truth. We have reached the end of our journey, but know that each of the themes we explored here still sparks intense debates and research. The Roman Empire was the stage for extraordinary feats, epic conflicts, and legends that refuse to disappear. With every archaeological discovery, a door to the past opens, and no one truly knows how many secrets still lie beneath the sands of time. If you enjoyed this journey and want to continue unraveling the mysteries of ancient Rome, subscribe to our channel now, hit the like button, and share this video with your friends. This helps us continue bringing incredible content to you. Thank you for staying with us until the end, and we look forward to our next adventure through history.